Hey, what is going on, guys? This is Jason with Jadren Aquatics. Thanks for hanging out with me in the fish room. So today we're gonna update you guys on how well the new fish room is going. We are moving quicker than I could ever imagine, but I'm worn out, very worn out. So let's go ahead and head out there so I can show you guys what's going on, and also talk about the way that you set up a central air system in your fish room. So let's head out there. All right, here we are. As you can see, there is now a wall and a door there. So we actually have a room. I find it funny, you guys see over here, all these posters on the wall. These are all posters that I've printed. They're all over the place. I use them to disguise the mess on the floor. But I find it funny that one of my subscribers at Texas Fish Room actually saw some posters of some shows that he actually went to. I thought that was kind of amusing. All right, so you can see everything looks good here. I've got everything, you know, pushed back up against the wall here, the way the plan was. Then we come in here, open the door. Granted, we still don't, we're just gonna use lighting from the tank, so there's not a lot of lighting in here right now. I've just got a couple of lights thrown in here, and also it's real echoey. So you can see now, there's a lot more room in here than I actually imagined. So, so let's talk about some funny things. So some of you guys may watch this and you may think to yourself, you know what? Jason really knows what he's doing. I just would never want to attempt this because I'll mess things up. Well, let me tell you, I don't always know what I'm doing by any stretch of the imagination, and boy howdy, are there some mistakes in this fish room. So let's talk about some of the reasons why you would not want Jason building your fish room. So as far as like knocking out these spots for these outlet plugs, this is the last one I did, so this one is actually the best one, but it's still too long. That right there, that's still too much gap that's in here. So I had to buy oversized plugs for those, and we'll show you some more of those. And then there's some, like some of the earlier ones we did are pretty terrible. Like this one, this one's just mangled as I was trying to figure out what I was doing. The other thing is then at the bottom, I forgot, you're supposed to raise your sheetrock up about a ½ inch off the ground. Well, I put it right up against the ground, and you know, you got to get it so that it sets right on the 2x4s, so that when you're butting them up against each other, both sides fit on that same 2x4. And so you usually got to cock it out of a little bit of an angle, and because of that, you can see down here, knocking it in, you just start breaking off the corners, and you can see that that's on a lot of them. Again, I don't always know 100% what I'm doing, and the funnier one, funny now, not so much funny before, as I'm putting the door in and I'm trying to get everything level and straight so that the door closes correctly, I forgot down here on this end that I didn't ever attach these 2x4s to this wall, and since I didn't, this wall actually moved on me. So you can see there's like a like a 1 inch or more gap between this stupid wall and the wall that I built. So that was a huge mistake. So I don't know if you can see it, but I actually went in there and I used that expanding foam to take up that gap. You can probably see it down there a little better. That expanding foam to take up that gap so that I don't have all this huge breeze coming in here. Because again, over on the other side of the print shop, we don't heat and cool that while we're not here, so that gets really cold or really hot. The other problem up here is the ceiling. The ceiling has been here for 35 years, so it sags in the middle, so it actually sets level there. But over here, the ceiling sets up about 1.5 inches higher at the end. It's not my walls. My walls are actually all the same height. I know some of the sheetrock is not necessarily the same height because I had to, I don't know. Again, I don't 100% know what I'm doing all the time. So I had to take insulation and jam it in there. I could have used that spray insulation up there too, but that stuff hardens and gets stuck on everything and just makes a mess. So I didn't really want to use it on the ceiling panels in case I needed to get in to the ceiling. So got a wall. So now we're trying to do this thing in steps. So what the next step is we want to go ahead and get our air set up here. So we're going to create an air loop. And so that's what you'll see right here. The air loop will actually be a loop. Hey, surprise, an air loop is a loop that's going to go completely around the entire room. It's going to go this whole 27-foot wall here, then down this 10-foot wall, down this 27-foot wall, and then down that 10-foot wall. So it's going to be right up against the edge, and then we'll have our air pump, our linear piston pump will be setting up here, and it'll be attached to this loop, blowing the air in so that it supplies the air that we need to all the tanks. So you can see right here what we're actually using. This is 1-inch PVC pipe. This is schedule 40. Usually I would use 1.25 inches, and really the reason is not so much because you get more space in it. It really has to do with the thickness. So whenever you drill these things and then you run the valves through it, you're going to tap them in there. And so the thicker the pipe is, the more threads that will be actually in there holding it on. The other reason is the difference in the price between 1 and 1.25 inches is like $2 a pipe. And so I needed like 8 pipes. So I this is an expensive thing. So wherever you can cut corners without causing any problems cutting corners, don't just cut corners. That's what I decided to do on these. Went ahead and went with the 1 inch. The connectors and everything are cheaper also. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually set this up on the ground. I made the mistake in the fish room I have now of putting like one side together and then hanging it. And then I actually tried to piece the rest of it together, and that ended up being a nightmare. So even to this day, some of the elbows actually leak air, and there's just almost nothing I can do about it. But I just made a mess of it. So this time we're actually going to build the entire thing on the ground so we can create it the exact size that it is. Then we'll have to get someone to come in here and help us, and we'll work on lifting this side up and then getting this side attached, and then we'll start working on the other sides. Or we may work on this side first. I don't know. I haven't actually done it this way before, so we're going to kind of have to figure it out as we go along. I think it'll probably be better to work on this long side first if I got 2, maybe 3 people helping me. So we're going to go ahead and get this pipe laid out. Something you need to know whenever you're doing these, you do want to use the PVC cement on this stuff. There's different kinds. This is the one that I use, the medium clear PVC cement. You don't just want to knock these things together because of it being under pressure. You want this thing completely sealed because if you lose just a little bit of air, you'll end up needing more pumps, and that's part of my problem at home because I have leaks. I have more pumps than I actually need, but I need them because I have leaks. So you can use primer if you want to, that purple primer stuff. I don't always use it. It doesn't seem to be something you really have to use. Those guys out there that use that stuff all the time will probably say, Jason, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. Maybe you're supposed to use it, but I don't typically always use it. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to get this all laid out and get these pieces glued together, and then we'll show you that process in a second. All right, as you can see here, we've got it hung. Due to lack of prior planning on my part, this plug was lower than I thought, so there's a little bit of dip in the pipe, but it doesn't really matter. It's not the It's not the greatest looking thing in the world. I measured it a little bit, but it's not. It dips in certain areas, but it's held up fine. So I think I put plenty of them. I put one about every 8 feet to keep it held up there. And then you'll probably wonder why this thing is completely closed. You're like, Jason, it's closed. How are you going to get any air to it? Well, I purposely right here, this is where the pump is going to end up going. So I'm actually going to cut the pipe right there and tee it off. I've got a couple of other things that I have to add to this also. We'll talk about that a little bit more in the next video. Just kind of want to show you guys the way to put this up. And then let me show you the clips that I use. So these are the clips that I use to put these things up there. The pipe is 1 inch and these are 1 inch, but these are designed for conduit. So it's not the same size. So these you actually have to bend open a little bit more. It's not that big of a deal, but these are like half the price of the next size up. And so these work just fine. Again, you need to find a stud that you're gonna screw these in to lock that down. There's hardly any weight on this thing. It's just this PVC pipe. So you're not worrying about, that much stuff. You're never putting any kind of weight on it. So these work just fine. So thanks again, guys. I hope you guys are absolutely enjoying following me step by step as I build this fish room. Really appreciate each and every one of you guys. So if you guys got any questions or comments, or you see something you think I should be doing different, man, I would love to hear your ideas. So thanks again, guys, and God bless.